one place where it has been effective to be tough is to push capital into banks. When I was working at the Fed and we'd have bankers come in and talk to us about how regulation was kind of making their life difficult, one question I would tend to ask them is it capital or people? That is to say, what has really sort of constrained you? Has it been having to have more capital, or has it been having to hire more people to do a variety of compliance-related things? And almost uniformly the answer is people are more of a problem for us than capital. Forced to choose, I would push a little bit more on the capital side, understand, as a number of people suggested this morning, that all the complex kind of very prescriptive rules may not be as effective as just having a bigger buffer. One thing that's sort of important to note is the word communicate, the Fed and all its so-called forward guidance has been talked about under the label of communication. But in fact, it's really two different policies. So during the period, when we were at zero interest rates, forward guidance was used more than just to communicate. It was a form of commitment. It was a way of making a promise, we will not raise interest rates, say, until the unemployment rate reaches at least 6.5%. So that was a bit of, not contractual, but it was a bit of a quasi-commitment. Now we're moving away from that kind of forward guidance to a world where it really is more in the vein of communication. That is to say, here's where we think, rates might be. And I think that's going to present a challenge. I think getting the market to understand that the guidance is no longer we're telling you where it's going to be, and getting the market to understand that there's quite a bit of risk and uncertainty about where the Fed will be, I think that's very important, because you don't want to get in a situation where the Fed puts out some number for 2016, or puts out a set of numbers, and then feels like it's compelled to deliver on those numbers because the market has come to expect them. I think the wind down has been very smooth. There was a lot of bumpiness around the first announcement, around the first taper. But then basically once that happened, and once they got into kind of a rhythm of doing 10 billion at every meeting, there was essentially no incremental signal from the next step and the next step and the next step, and it proceeded very, very smoothly. And in fact, interestingly, even though rates spiked up a lot around the time that the taper was first being discussed, since then rates have actually, as the Fed has bought less and less, maybe a little bit counterintuitively, rates have been coming down. So obviously there are other forces at play. There's Europe and there's various other things, but it doesn't feel like the Fed stopping buying bonds has been sort of an upward, a significant upward pressure on rates. It's been well tolerated.